This is Alan Ball.
Hi, this is Audrey Fisher.
This is Jim Perry.
Hi, this is Kristen Bauer.
Hi, this is Alexander Skarsgård.
This is Nelson Ellis.
Hi, this is Johnny Neal.
This is Ryan Tucker.
Hi, this is Lindsay Fulton.
Hi, this is Ryan Quentin from True-Blood. Hello, this is Theo Alexander.
Hey, this is Lauren Bowles.
Hi, this is David Tishman.
This is Jay Everett.
Hello, this is Janina Gavankar.
This is James Frame.
Hi, this is Courtney Ford, and you're listening to True Blood Radio.
Hi, this is Liz and Mel with True-Blood.net, here with our first podcast since December. Can you believe it's been that long? Yikes.
That's crazy.
I know. Seriously, there really hasn't been anything to talk about until now, so we decided to wait and do a super duper podcast for you. And today we're covering Charlaine Harris's new book series, which came out a week ago. And the new promotional photos that HBO sent over. We're going to talk about the first full-length trailer for season 7. And we are going to address the Eric question again. This is podcast number 219 for the week of May 11th, 2014. And belated Mother's Day to all you moms out there and all you aunties too.
Yes. Well, I forgot to grab my copy of Midnight Crossroad and bring it as a little visual aid, but pretend that I'm holding it right here.
Looks good.
Yeah, woo, So Charlaine Harris's latest novel, Midnight Crossroad, came out on May 6th, and it's the beginning of a new trilogy. It's the first in a trilogy, so there's only going to be 3 novels is what we're being told at this point. I don't know. We'll see. But it's a brand new town, but it has some familiar faces, some familiar themes. The setting is pretty familiar. If you've read Charlaine's other books, that is. I enjoyed it quite a bit. The pace is pretty slow at the beginning because she's introducing this new town, and Midnight is a small town in Texas, like a tiny, tiny town in Texas. Population, I think it's 261 or something like that. It's basically just a crossroad in the middle of the Texas countryside. And it's got like 4 or 5 businesses and 10 houses right around the crossroads. And then the rest of the population is kind of spread out around, the rest of the town. So it's the pace in the town itself is slow. So she kind of matched that with the book as we're being introduced to these different characters, but the characters also are all there because they have secrets. Like, this is a town that you come to if you're trying to hide something good or bad, or neutral. I don't know. Just if you have secrets. So our gateway into this town is Manfred Bernardi. I know I'm not saying this correctly, but because I'm not of Italian descent, but
I am, and I still I'm not sure if I was pronouncing it correctly.
Not confident, but those who read the Harper Connolly series will recognize him. He was the grandson of the psychic in 2 of the Harper Connolly novels, and he's also psychic. And so he comes to town, and we're not entirely sure why, like what he's kind of getting away from. If you've read the Harper Connolly series, you kind of have some background, and then he gets there, but he's an online psychic. So people pay him $20 and they send him a question via email, and he answers their question. Sometimes it's legit, like he actually has a vision or, has supernatural insight into the problem. But most of the time it's just kind of generic stuff that he, I think, probably just copies and pastes answers and, changes the name. So that's why he's there. He's got that set up, a whole bunch of computer equipment in his apartment that he's renting. And so he starts to kind of get to know the townspeople, and we are also introduced to the townspeople. There's that connection to the Harper Connolly series, and Harper actually gets mentioned in the book.
Plus he has a tattoo.
Yes, he does have a tattoo.
Lightning bolt.
Of a lightning bolt. So that's a reference. Then Shakespeare and Lily Bard, they get a shout out. And I was swearing up and down that to Liz when I was telling her about it, that there was a reference to the Aurora Teagarden series too, which is not at all supernatural. has nothing to do with the supernatural, but it's the murder mystery series that Charlaine Harris started. That was kind of the first series that got picked up and published. But I could not remember what exactly the connection was when I finished reading it. Fortunately, one of our Facebook friends, Kim Duggar Baker, posted on our True Blood Facebook page that Arthur Smith is the detective from Lawrencetown, and Aurora Teagarden's one-time love interest is the connection. He's mentioned in the book. So
Arthur!
That's it. Yes. I knew it was something, but it wasn't clicking exactly what it was. So I was trying to make it be that one of the characters' names is Macon, which is Macon, Georgia, and Aurora Teagarden's in Georgia, but she's not in Macon. I was like, kind of, but no, not really. It's a little obscure given how obvious the others were. But anyway. So, and the connection to Bon Tom and Sookie is that, it's a supernatural series. There is a vampire. There's a psychic. And people who have read the Sookie series will, by the end of the book, have a pretty good idea about a couple of other characters. But I don't want to spoil that for you. And it's not, confirmed in this book. I assume that's what, in the next book, it'll come into play. It's just kind of hinted at in this book. So that's a connection there. And I love it when an author does that. I love it when we get people and just references to other books and other series that an author has written, because to me, it just continues the world building that they've done in those other series that I loved. And it's just nice to kind of have a little cameo of other characters. You know, Liz and I are both big fans of Harper Connolly. So to kind of have a little, Harper wave.
Yeah.
Is nice. It just makes it, the whole reading experience, more rich for me as a reader. So I really like that.
Yeah. It was familiar, like putting on an old sweater. In a way, just to be able to revisit some of those characters.
Exactly. And Midnight is familiar. I mean, it's a Bon Tom kind of town, smaller, but it's kind of a Bon Tom. It's a kind of a Shakespeare. It's a small southern town, and which are, Charlaine is fascinated by the goings on in small towns. Apparently, she writes about them all the time. So that it's kind of easy to just kind of slip back into that and just get to know a new town with new residents. There's some really interesting residents in there too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And Bobo, isn't he from the Shakespeare series?
I didn't. That's the only series I didn't read.
I only got through a couple, and it wasn't for me. But I think that he was like a character that kind of passed through in one of the Lily Bard books, and he's a main character in this book. So, it is a murder mystery though. So, but here's Liz had her own issues with the book. I liked it overall, but I felt like, man, it took forever to actually get to the murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we were meeting all the people and kind of getting a sense of the town and the setting, and which is fine. I don't have a problem with that, and with taking your time, and the pace is slow, and that's great. But I felt like we could have gotten to the murder mystery a little bit sooner. Mm-hmm. The murdered person a little bit sooner, just to have a plot. You know what I mean? Mostly
because you sort of kind of can figure out that there is a murder and who has been murdered. It just took so long for the actual revelation, you know, from the time that it was hinted at to the actual revelation, and it just kind of,
And it didn't feel like it needed to be so long.
Yeah.
I mean, so this person's dead. We don't know this person. I mean, we never actually meet this person. They're dead when the book starts. So, I don't know. That was an issue for me, just that it felt like it took forever to get to that. But the resolution to the murder mystery, she kept me guessing. I really, in my written review, I was wanting to make some references and trying to be really clever about them, but there's nothing, I couldn't come up with any way to talk about it without giving something away. And I don't want to spoil it, because I thought it was a really, how can I say this? It was, it surprised me. Mm-hmm. And because of the motive, the motive made it worse, even though I had never actually met the victim.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that the person was killed was actually kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's all I can really say there, because it is worth reading it just to find out who it is. You know, Charlene does know how to weave a murder mystery. We know that. So, but that's not really the point of the book. I mean, that's the overt reason that she's written the book, but really it's to set us up for this trilogy and introduce us to all these different characters and reintroduce us to some familiar characters. So that's and I enjoyed that. I'm really looking forward to the next one and seeing what happens next in Midnight, Texas. I've got questions about a lot of the different characters. There's some that we only got a little bit of insight about. We only got to know a little bit, and it's obvious that there's a lot more to learn about them. So I want to see them get developed and things happen. Mm-hmm. So I'm in.
I'm undecided. I think I will probably read the next book, but if I have the same reaction to the next book as I did to this one, I probably won't continue the series. And I mean, I didn't read the Lily Bard series for my own reasons. I can't read those books. Mm-hmm. But it's not a reflection on the author. It's just my personal preference. Mm-hmm. So this, it was a little too strong it had a tone that was too strong that I didn't particularly want in my entertainment. Mm-hmm. So, but I like the way Charlene sets up her towns and her characters and describes them so that you do feel like, I mean, I kind of felt like the slowness in getting to the actual murder was kind of in keeping with the pace of the town. It's
for sure
sleepy, quiet. There's probably more tumbleweeds than there are residents in Midnight. Yeah. It's that kind of town, and and it's hot, and mm-hmm. and you get all that feeling, and she's real good at doing that. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that. So yeah. I will probably read the next book. I'm not going to say I'm not going to do it. I'm going to still keep my mind open.
For you, the issue was that you felt like it got too political.
Yeah.
And I didn't even notice. Like, we were talking about it after Liz had read it, and she, partway through, you were excited about it. You were into it, and then you finished it, and I was all, let's discuss it. And Liz says, I don't know. I don't think it's really for me. And I was so surprised.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't even on my radar.
By the end of the book,
things that bothered you.
Yeah, by the end of the book, I had enough.
Yeah.
I was over it. And, I just don't like that in my, I mean, it's one of my sticking points with True Blood. Mm-hmm. It's the only thing about that show that I could do without.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I know it's a big part of the story and everything, but...
No, I'm just laughing because that's so not even, like, I've got 5 things ahead of that.
that
I would get rid of.
Well, yeah. Yeah. There are a few.
Yeah. Ugh. I wonder, though, if it has to do with the fact that you live up north and I live in a more rural setting, closer to where this is set.
I actually thought about that, and I actually kind of think that might be it. I mean, it's different. It's different in the South than it is up here.
Yeah, this isn't, I mean, the things that she's talking about in here, the kind of militia groups, right?
Yeah.
That's not quite right, but something similar to that is, that's just not unfamiliar territory for me. I grew up in Kansas, in rural Kansas. I've never been a part of anything like that. No one in my family has, but I do have family members who probably would if they could, if they had the opportunity and the invitation, be involved in something like that. And, they have the politics to go along with it. And so, yeah, it just doesn't, I don't know. It just didn't strike me as anything odd or overt or out of place. So I was just thinking about that a little bit ago, wondering if it may have something to do with geography.
It might.
Yeah.
It might. I'm a Yankee.
She's a Yankee.
Yankee.
She's a Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Not a Yankee fan, though. Let's be clear.
On the record, not a Yankee fan.
That's right. That's
So.
right.
Anyway, so this was a little bit, being the first book in a trilogy and being a mystery, it's a little bit hard to talk about it without giving much away. But I really enjoyed it. If you're a fan of Charlene, this will be, like Liz said, it's like putting on an old sweater. It's a comfortable sweater. It's familiar. I mean, it's fresh. It's a fresh storyline. It's a different way of writing the story because it is in third person and it switches between a bunch of different narrators. It's not an omniscient third person, meaning it's not, the narrator doesn't know everything. And, it's switching between different perspectives. And I really liked that, getting to know these characters a little more intimately, and all of them. It was kind of like in the last Sookie novel where she started bringing in some other characters. Mm-hmm. It's kind of similar to that, but there's no first person narrative in it, like in the Sookie novels, and some of her other stuff. So I recommend it.
I do recommend it, even though I had some issues with it. I mean, here you go. I like a good mystery. Mm-hmm. Give me a whodunit. Every time I'll pick that book up first. If it's got a ghost in it, yay. A haunted house, oh yeah.
Well, technically there was a haunted house in this.
There kind of was.
Because it happens around Halloween and there's a witch. So, yeah.
Yes, and I like her.
Yeah.
She was cute.
She was fun. I liked her.
Yeah, I liked her a lot. Okay, should we move on?
I think we shall. Let's move on to True Blood stuff.
All right, because I think that's why you guys are listening. I'm not sure. I could be wrong about that. Missing my mark. HBO sent over 7 promotional photos from the final season, and they don't give a thing away.
No, they don't.
Zero zip. The characters are just, they're posed or they're standing there. And
it's generic. I mean, aside from the hairstyles, it pretty much could have been from any season. So whatever, HBO.
I mean, the biggest giveaway was Tara showing her fangs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We all know
we didn't know. Yeah.
So we get pictures. They featured Lafayette, which everybody loved, and he looks gorgeous.
He does.
And then there's Sookie, Jason, Tara, Alcide, Sam, Jessica, Bill, and Andy. So that's it. There were some people conspicuously missing.
Indeed.
But we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Because we also want to talk about the first full trailer for season 7.
Yes.
Now, when we didn't actually say that the premiere date for season 7 is June 22nd. And at 9/8 Central on HBO, and the UK gets it like 2 weeks later, July 7th.
Ish. Something like that. I know it's 2 weeks late. I know it's earlier than they got it last year, which was August. September.
Usually the UK doesn't get it until it's been off the air in the US for a month or two. So this time, good news, you guys are getting it within a couple of weeks. So HBO announced that that season 7 would premiere on June 22nd here in the States. And with that came a little teaser video, people, we had a whole big thing about this. They do this every year. It's not a surprise. Mm-hmm. But it was in a cemetery, and it was kind of zooming around the cemetery and showing headstones of different characters who had died. And then the last thing was, it showed us a headstone that says True Blood 2008 to 2014. So, this is the final season.
Yeah, they're going with pay your last respects.
Mm-hmm. That's their theme for this season. So we had that, and then a couple weeks later, I guess, we got the first full trailer for season 7. We got a little bit of footage in a spring preview, but we got a full trailer for season 7. And once again, it just doesn't give much away at all.
No.
It's a lot of the Hep V infected vampires attacking Bon Tom. Lots of that. Willa is on the attack. She's got stakes in her hands, and she's going after somebody. I assume vampire, since she has stakes. But Sookie is doing this voiceover, and it's very bleak.
Yeah.
And she's talking about how the government has just turned away from them and left them all for dead. It's very just
Ominous.
Dystopian. Yeah. And there's
hopeless.
they're in this town, and we had some set photos a few months ago from this scene where they're in this abandoned town that's been looted, and the wall, the windows are boarded up, and it says "Help us," and it's not Bon Tom, it's a different town that has been attacked by the vampires, we assume. And it's Jason, Sam, Sookie, Andy, and Alcide,
yes,
I think, are all there. They've all gone to this town to see what's going on. I think that's from episode 1. I think everything we saw, I'm pretty sure, is from episode 1.
Yeah. Pretty sure.
So, so we get her talking about that and just being very, it's just bleak. Bleak is the word.
Yeah.
Just bleak.
Yeah.
And then,
hopeless.
Very hopeless. Yeah. It's not going well in Bon Tom. And then the Bon Tom residents have started turning on each other. There's a lot of distrust, and Maxine Fortenberry, we see her. She's got a gun. She's aiming at somebody. I assume they ate some of her casserole. I'm not positive. But
she's been wanting to do that since season 1.
She has. She's finally getting to use a gun. Lots of violence. It's just, this is not a sexy one, for sure. This is not a sexy preview.
No.
At all. It's basically, like I said, I'm pretty sure all the footage is from episode 1. And it's about the vampires coming after Bon Tom and what that's doing to the town and to the townspeople. So, an interesting way, an interesting first taste of the season, I thought. It was not at all what I was expecting.
No,
it wasn't loving or lingering or anything on anyone. It was just.
No, I mean, I didn't even get the feeling like, oh, I'm so excited.
I know.
Like, I was actually frightened.
Yeah, I was thinking, oh my gosh, what is happening to our poor people? These characters that we've come to love over the last 6 years.
Yeah.
So, it's not looking good, you guys. Now, noticeably absent, Pam and Eric, as they were also not in the photos that were released. And this is not an accident, you guys. We're not going to see anything about them. I don't think we'll even get an interview from Skarsgård. Mm-hmm. I don't think he will. He may be doing interviews, but nothing's going to be released until after the season premiere.
Yeah. Yeah. They're keeping things real tight this season, and I think they just really want to make this the best season for the fans that have stuck with the show from the beginning. They want everybody to be surprised. They don't want anything leaked, and they know how smart the fans are in figuring things out anyway. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably why there isn't a whole lot of photos yet, and because they're filming episode 7 right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're moving right along. It's episode 7 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So they're
and we're just now getting pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and footage.
Yeah.
Now there are there's some spoilery stuff that we'll talk about in the spoiler section. This is not technically a spoiler. The photos and the preview are not technically spoilers. So
no, they're out there.
Yeah, we don't warn you about those, but there's a couple of other things that we'll talk about in the spoiler section. But hey, Liz, is Eric dead? OMG, they killed my favorite character. I will never watch a show again.
Okay, here's the thing. Let me read you something. This is an interview that was done back only days after season 6 ended. Okay, it was with TV Line and Brian Buckner as the showrunner. Okay, the first question they asked was the big question: is Alexander Skarsgård coming back? Is Eric dead? Okay, so Brian says, I can tell you Alexander Skarsgård is going to be a part of the next season of True Blood. He will be a series regular, meaning he will be there.
In every episode.
He says he's very aware of the popularity of Eric Northman. He is not a fool. He says, I am not going to take Alexander Skarsgård out of people's living rooms. Calm down. Slow your roll.
He's
cool
not
everything.
well, I mean, the character's dead. Obviously, he's a vampire.
Yeah.
But
somebody said that. Somebody on Facebook said, "Oh, Eric can't be dead." And it had been after so many of the same kind of comment. I finally, I'm sorry, I had enough. I snapped. Yes, it happens once in a while. I went in there and said, well, he is dead because he's a vampire. So he's dead. It wasn't received very well.
No. Technically, he is dead.
He is dead.
And Pam has gone to find him.
Mm-hmm.
So
now
that's why they're not in any of the photos or any of the footage, because they don't want us to know anything about their storyline. Not because they're not on the show. They're both on the show. They are both series regulars for the final season.
Right.
So
right.
Calm down.
And
stop clutching your pearls. It's going to be okay.
Buckner even said that Pam has gone off in search of Eric. Mm-hmm. She may be the one to find him. She may not be. She may find him already rescued. And he also said it's going to take a while for Eric to get back. I mean, he burst into flames. Mm-hmm. You know, he's going to have some healing time. So, but I mean, I don't think they're going to take like half the season before we see him. So
I say he's back in Louisiana in the first 2 episodes. Like by the end of episode 2, he's back. That's my prediction.
Or at least I think that we'll at least have some. We'll see him like with his rescuer. Mm-hmm. At first before he heads back, but
yeah, I think he'll be recovering. But
yeah. So from the showrunner's mouth. Come on, guys. Really? If you guys have been with the show and been part of this world for 6 seasons already, you know darn well they're not going to get rid of Eric. Come on, Eric. That'd be like getting rid of Sookie.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
So they're not going to get rid of Bill. The 3 they're like the nucleus of the show. Mm-hmm. So I mean,
rest easy.
Calm down. Get some rest. Take some wine. Have some wine. Works for me. I can even recommend it.
Dr. Liz prescribes.
I can recommend some great wines. But seriously, and I don't even know. We're going to be saying this till the premiere, until the first time everybody sees Eric. Mm-hmm. We're going to repeat this over and over and over again because some don't watch the podcast. And there are some that I don't know where they've been for the last 6 seasons. And all of a sudden, they're coming out saying, "Oh my gosh, this is the last season." Yes.
Yes, it is. That's why, in case you're wondering why we keep saying over and over, we keep referencing it as the final season over and over and over and over. It's because you guys know, and we know that this is the final season, but you would be amazed at how many people are like, what? No, we have to write a petition. They can't do this. We have to convince them not to. This decision was made last September. It was announced that this is the final season. It is the final season. There's nothing we can do about that. We're not even going to try because there's no point. HBO is not like a network show. We've covered this already. Mm-hmm. But that's why we keep saying it over and over and over. We're not trying to rub it in, we're not trying to add salt to the wound or anything. It is legitimately because every time we post it, more than one person says, "What? Oh my God, this is the final season? I had no idea." So that's why.
So they either say that or they say, if Eric is dead, I'm not going to watch this show anymore. Well,
you know what, Liz?
It's the last season, so you're not going to be able to watch the show anymore, for one thing.
There's that.
And Eric is not dead. Where have you been? Where have you been all these months? Well, where have you been for the past year? When have we been talking about? They must be new to our...
I think so. It's happening a lot on Facebook.
Yeah.
And we went from 14,000 fans at the end of last season to we're going to hit 100,000 this week. So we've got a lot of new people in there, looking at our stuff and interacting with us. So we do have a lot of people who have not, I don't think, been with our site this whole time. So I think that's part of it. It gets frustrating because we feel like we're answering the same questions over and over. But Liz, I think I'm going to make a graphic that has that quote from Brian Buckner on it. So we can just start throwing that in the comments when somebody asks about Eric or complains, says, oh, where is he?
Be so much easier.
Yeah. That way, it's straight from the showrunner's mouth.
Yeah.
And they don't,
it was TV Line. He even had an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, and he said virtually the same thing.
Yeah.
I have both of them, so if you want copies.
Oh, I've got them too. So we're going to do that. A little bit of behind the scenes strategery for you guys.
Yeah.
So let's get into actual spoilers now.
Okay.
So spoilers for season 7. I don't know if anybody is actually actively avoiding spoilers at this point, but if you are, then go ahead and turn us off, and we'll see you next time. And it will be sooner. Next time will be sooner. We're in the home stretch here for the season premiere, so you'll be seeing us a little more often. And then, of course, during the season, we'll be posting podcasts every week, talking about every episode. But yes, you'll be seeing us more frequently here in the coming months. So stick with us for spoilers, or see you later. Okay, spoiler fans, here we go. We are going to, they're casting, okay, let me pull myself together here.
Get it together.
Get it together.
Would you like a glass of wine?
No.
Okay.
No, but thanks. No. Liz just put talking points on here, and I actually got to create the sentence, and I've been teaching 8th graders all day, so I don't really have that many brain cells left.
You could borrow some of mine.
Yeah. I told her the other night that I needed her to take a nap because I was really tired.
We share a brain anyway.
We do. Anyway, so producers are casting young Tara and young Lafayette and young Sookie. That we don't know exactly at what age, but we're getting a flashback into Tara's past. We're going to meet her father, her abusive, alcoholic father. And we're just going to get a little more information about where Tara comes from and what her life has been like, which we already know. Of course, we've met Letty Mae, so we have an idea, but this is going to give us a little more of a glimpse into her past. So I'm excited about meeting young Lafayette. I'm just giddy at the thought of meeting young Lala, because I can't even imagine what kind of a kid was he. Was he always like this? Was he always this, flamboyant, gorgeous man? Or was he, I don't know. I just don't know. How are they going to play that?
I don't know. It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be neat where I'm kind of looking forward to, although I'm really, I don't know. Whenever I know they're going to do a flashback and it's an abusive situation, I just have such a hard time, especially where children are involved.
Exactly. That's not going to be easy, but they've handled it well in the past when they've had kids in that situation. So, I think we're going to be okay. But yeah, that gave me a little bit of a moment. I don't know if I want to see that, but I do want to know more about Tara and about her past. So
yeah, absolutely.
And I think this is going to be around episode 6, I believe. We didn't get an exact episode for this casting call. It wasn't listed which episode it was, but I think it was episode 6, maybe 5, but probably 6.
Well, Tara's not the only past we're going to dive into. We are going back into Bill's again. Now, we've been in Bill's past again, but this time we're going to meet his parents, William Sr. and Margaret. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be very and it looks like it's going to be around the time where Bill is already grown and married to Caroline. It looks like they're doing this all in the same time, period, 1850s. And because we're going to get a flashback of Caroline as she's giving birth to one of the kids. So I don't think it's going to be, young Bill. I think it's going to be him all grown up already, family man, or about to be. But I just thought that was cool.
Yeah. I am curious to find out what his parents were like too, given how, he's got this very proper Southern gentleman way about him, when he's not Billeth or murdering people with Lorena. But
when we first met him in season 1, that's the Bill that he has been,
Mhm.
or was for a while.
I assume, yeah.
A couple decades at least.
Yeah.
Or at least when he got away from Lorena.
Yeah. So we'll meet the parents and find out what he was like.
Meet the peas.
Where he got it from. We have a new big bad coming to town. Will Yun Lee is joining the cast. He's going to play a Japanese businessman named Mr. Gus. He lives in Texas, and he is a bigger-than-life urban cowboy. And that should be interesting to watch. But here's the thing. He's out for revenge, and he's going to stop at nothing to get it. We're guessing he's a Japanese businessman. So True Blood, the beverage, was manufactured in Japan. He's out for revenge, and there's speculation, and I am on board with this speculation. I can't remember who it was that posted on our site with this first, but speculation that he's out for revenge on Sarah Newland for that stiletto through the head maneuver she pulled at the end of last season on the Japanese businesswoman. Now, at first I thought that maybe this was Mr. Gus's daughter, but with this casting, Will Yun Lee, he's another very hot young man.
Yes.
In his 30s, I believe. Who, so that means maybe wife or sister, but it seems like he would be connected. And we're pretty sure, they didn't come right out and say it, but we're pretty sure that he's a vampire. Which would, again, I mean, if she's his sister and she's developed this synthetic blood, I mean, that kind of fits. If her brother's a vampire. Although I guess technically if he is a vampire, then I guess she could be his, like, great-great-great-granddaughter.
True.
Now that I put that together, I'm telling you guys, 8th graders. All day. There's nothing left.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be going after Sarah.
Yeah, and I think he's related to the woman that Sarah killed in some way. So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah, and didn't we hear too that Sarah was coming back?
Yes, she is.
With new reinforcements, that she's going to be better.
We are going to meet her parents and her sister this season too. Yeah.
Jeez.
So I'm trying to remember. So if we last recorded a podcast in December, that means anything since January we haven't talked about on the podcast.
Right.
All right. Okay. Which isn't a whole lot, but yeah. So Sarah's parents and sister we're going to meet. And that's apparently going to explain a lot about Sarah and why she is the way she is. We've got the Bill flashback and the Tara flashback. It seems like there's isn't there another villain?
Was there another villain? You know what? When I passed over that when I was putting our notes together because I thought that it was the same one. So I didn't look into it any further.
There's more than one villain, but I'm just going to have to pull this up real quick. Wow, are we disorganized today?
Well, not really. It's just that it has been a while.
Yes. It's been a while.
It's been a while since we've done this, so
yeah. The Figure. That's who it is. The Figure.
Oh, the Figure. Oh, That's right. He was cast, wasn't he?
That's been announced. Not that's been announced. The Figure is a scary, hulking, ugly, mean, crafty guy like Leatherface or Jason Voorhees, except this guy talks. Curiously, this Figure dude will appear in the season premiere, which had presumably finished shooting more than 2 months before he was cast. So they're reworking something there.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wondered if he had something to do with Eric's storyline, like maybe Pam did a deal with the devil sort of thing to save Eric. But that was my initial thought, but now I don't really think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But speaking of, so we would not have had the photos yet. That's what I was thinking about earlier when we were talking about Eric. So there was an extra on the set of True Blood. She's playing an innkeeper, and she's in Morocco, quote unquote, playing the innkeeper, and was filming scenes with Alexander Skarsgård. Yeah. So, and I think she said this was for episode 2, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was early on. So, already episode 2.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so that's and Eric is alive-ish. He's undead. Yeah. In this episode.
Still.
Yes, it is from season 2. So she's got a picture of herself with Skarsgård in front of part of the set. And he's very clearly in it. So
he's alive.
He's alive.
Okay.
And we'll link to that in the show notes for this podcast, too, if you need to get straight to it. Or just go to True-Blood.net and search for Eric in Morocco, and you'll find it. Mm-hmm. So we also have Arlene getting a new love interest, who is a vampire, which is surprising on a lot of levels. And Lafayette gets a new love interest. Now, I think we did talk about that. Because we found out about that in December. So I think we did talk about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that brings us pretty much up to date. Eric, alive. Love interest for Lafayette and Arlene. Big bads. Mm-hmm. Sarah Newland returning. And we're meeting some of her family. We're meeting Tara's father in a flashback, and we're meeting Bill's parents in a flashback.
Yes. And Eric's alive.
Ada, do we mention that?
Did we mention Eric is alive?
From what I hear, and don't tell anybody, Eric's alive.
Okay. As alive as a vampire can be.
Right. Okay, we'll quit teasing you guys about that.
We're messing with you. We're having fun with you.
We are. Okay, I think that's it for now.
I think that's it. I know that in another couple of short weeks, the season 6 DVD set comes out June 3rd. Mm-hmm. I actually have my handy dandy copy right here.
Ooh,
Yes. Be jealous. I can watch it now.
You can watch all the extras now.
Yeah. So
what are the extras on that?
You know, it's inside the episodes. For all of them. True Bloodlines. There is Vamp Camp Files.
Oh.
So that should be fun. And then audio commentaries are going to be from Brian Buckner, Stephen Moyer, Carrie Preston, Amelia Rose Blair, and many more. Now, I just got it. I mean, it was waiting for me. I was actually out of town for the weekend. This was waiting for me when I got home. And since I've been home, I've been crazy, crazy busy, and I have not been able to even open it.
Oh.
So.
Priorities, Liz.
I know.
Come on.
Priorities. Okay, priorities. Let's see.
She's moving to another state.
I have to be out of my house right now by the end of the month.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I have a place to go to yet. So.
Yes.
That's going to be fun. But,
Liz is going to be a Southerner in less than a month.
I'm turning in my Yankee card.
Yep.
And I'm gonna be talking like y'all.
When you throw a y'all in there without meaning to, that's when we'll know.
Yeah, it won't seem so pronounced, right? Because that sounded like y'all. Sounded like on purpose. So anyway, yeah, June 3rd. Get your copy. And I know that most of you have already pre-ordered it. You won't be sorry. And, you know, I liked last season. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Me too.
So it's worth it. I think that's it then.
Okay.
All right. So that is our show for this week. Don't forget to bookmark True-Blood.net and keep yourselves up to date on all the news and spoilers. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, at True-Blood.net. And find us on Facebook as well. We are yakking up a storm over there. Come on, join the fun.
We are blowing it up on Facebook.
I'm telling you.
Dude.
Just having tons of fun. So come on and join us. Convenient links are posted in the sidebar on our main page. And as always, of course, thank you guys for watching.
We also want to thank Minda for editing our podcast. And you can... Like I said, it's been a while. You can subscribe to True Blood Radio on iTunes at the link now showing on your screen. You can also listen to us on Stitcher, which is a free app that allows you to listen to podcasts without downloading them and using up your phone or iPod memory. And speaking of free downloads, if you go to audible.com/trueblood, you can get a free book, including Midnight Crossroad. It's an audiobook that is free with a 30-day trial membership on Audible. And again, that's audible.com/trueblood. We'll see you next time, real soon. Bye, Truebies.